By the end of 1943, early 44, it was realized that the SU-85 just wasn't quite cutting it in the tank destroyer role anymore. Quite simply, the German vehicles were too heavily armored. As a result, it was decided to have a look at a 100mm armed vehicle, which turned out to be the SU-100. Very simple naming convention, really. The prototype of this vehicle came out in February 44. By the testing in April of 44, it was decided, yes, we like this gun, we like the vehicle, let's build it. The SU-100 started production alongside SU-85 for a few months. The vehicle passed its tests in April of 44, but it wasn't until autumn of 44 that production was purely SU-100. The vehicle itself, very obviously based off of the T-34 chassis. We've seen the T-34 before, so we're not going to go spend quite so much time on the fine details. And outside of that, though, we'll have a look at the outside, have a look at the inside, see what makes it tick. So starting at the front of the vehicle, very obviously, no turret, it's a tank destroyer. In order to get the larger gun onto the vehicle chassis, you just put it directly on the hull. You don't have to worry about turret rings or anything like that. So from the 85 on the T-34-85, you now have the 100mm rifle on the same chassis. The front plate is much thicker than the T-34. It's 75mm versus 45. However, it is a little bit less slope, 50 degrees. Not that much less. It does allow, however, a lot more room inside the vehicle. This is a late production vehicle. The front slope is welded directly to the lower hull. No longer do you have that little third piece that joins the two. Now, how late? Well, using these special techniques that Yuri Pashaluk has taught me, look at the serial number. So down here, the first number is a 7. You'd think it's 1947. No, apparently this factory decided, and it was Sverdlovsk, I'm told, this factory decided that 7 actually means 5. So this is a 1945 vehicle, November, number 97. So after the war was ended, still in production. Other features on the front, of course, your traditional spare track links, tow hook, and again, the plug for the track tension system with the worm drive inside it to move the idler forwards or backwards. Big mantlet. Big gun, big hatch. As we move around to the side of the vehicle, the running gear is pure T-34. We've seen it before, down to the spacing of the road wheels is identical. But for a quick recap, if you missed it, no sprocket wheel, the drive wheel meshes with the center guides. The center guides are on every other track link. The tracks are held together with pins that have no retaining system. They simply get whacked back into place by a wedge on the inside of the hull. The road wheels in this case are solid, 90-litre fuel tanks, 2 on each side. And as you move forward to the casemate, you see a firing port for small arms, and just forward of the TC's housing is the radio mount for the antenna. It is the 9RS or 9RM radio. As you come around to the back, T-34 again, down to the 45mm of sloped armor. The external fuel tanks on the back are a post-war modification. This vehicle used to be in Bulgarian service and it was added probably in the 1950s. Other than that, no changes. You still have the large round hinged access port for the transmission and steering systems. Smoke, 2 exhaust pipes, and on the bottom again, straight from the T-34, 2 tow hooks and the large final drive housings. And of course, the entire back plate will hinge open on these hinges if you undo all of the bolts. And of course, you still have a small little light in the top center. As you come forward to the left side of the casemate, you'll see that there's absolutely nothing of interest here whatsoever. There's no firing port, there's no TC's cupola, there's no radio mount. There is a post-war attachment for spare track and a headlight. Has to be said, this is actually a very easy vehicle to climb up on. You simply step on a little eyelet here onto the mudguard. You can stand on the housing, it's tough enough. And you're on the roof. What's to complain about? So as you get up onto the engine deck, you see it's identical to the T-34 behind me with one significant difference. It no longer has the large bustle which comes out a third of the way onto the deck. This gives you a lot more living room. And I figure you can probably fit about 3 people here sleeping overnight and another one on the front where the hatch is now open. Where the 5th guy goes, I'm not entirely sure. If you look at the back of the casemate, 45mm of armor again. There is another firing port towards the direct rear next to the vision slot, and you will also see 2 armored housing for ventilator fans. The loader's hatch, large single piece, swings up and forward, and it does have a torsion bar to help you lift it up.